5-Minute Pearls for Clinical Practice. This week's pearl is called Write a Letter When They Go. Hello, this is Dr. Brian Morris, and this is 5-Minute Pearls for Clinical Practice, where you will learn the tools to provide exceptional care for your patients. This is the weekly podcast where you will be introduced to time-tested, evidence-based patient care strategies that aren't always taught in schools or training programs, but are nonetheless crucial for success in clinical practice. And each podcast episode is about 5 minutes. I've been practicing internal medicine for about 20 years. I went to medical school at Johns Hopkins, I trained at Yale, and I previously held a teaching position at Harvard Medical School. I currently practice medicine and hold a teaching appointment at UCLA Medical School here in Los Angeles, where I teach these patient care strategies to medical students, house staff, doctors, and other healthcare providers. This week's pearl is called Write a Letter When They Go. We all remember lectures that we attended years ago that changed our careers or the way that we practice our professions. For me, some of the most important lectures were given by healthcare professionals such as physicians or scientists, but some were given by people outside of the healthcare field. In 1998, I attended a Harvard Medical School conference, and I was fortunate to hear a lecture given by Rabbi Harold Kushner. You may remember him. He wrote the very influential book, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. The lecture was intended for healthcare professionals, and Rabbi Kushner spoke about how relationships and community can impact the health of our patients. He discussed many important and useful concepts, but there was one idea that he presented that has stayed with me over the years. Rabbi Kushner recommended that if a patient under our care dies, that we should send the family a letter. Now, of course, in most circumstances, you will be speaking with the patient's family, either face-to-face or by telephone, but there is something very powerful about also sending a letter to the patient's family through the mail. The note doesn't have to be a Pulitzer Prize-winning piece of literature, but it should simply say something like, "I was sorry to learn about the death of your father. He was a fine and brave man, and I consider it a privilege to have treated him." Rabbi Kushner told story after story about visiting families after a death and seeing how much of an impact a compassionate letter like that can make on a family. When a family loses a loved one, there's obviously a lot of pain and grief that sets in, and most of the correspondence that they receive are hospital bills and business-related matters. In a world of impersonal emails and texts and Facebook posts and tweets, receiving a signed note in the old-fashioned mail system from a doctor, a nurse, a physical therapist, a dentist, or any other healthcare professional sends a wonderful message that you care and that you took the time to reach out to express your condolences for their loved one. It's the ethically right thing to do, and during a time of grief, receiving a letter in the mail contributes immeasurably to the healing process of the loved ones of your patient. Although writing letters specific to each situation is best, if you find that you don't have the time to write individualized notes, consider creating a template letter that can be edited and individualized for each specific situation. The key is for the letter to be mailed to the patient's family and not sent through email or text. Most of the time, you won't hear back from the patient's family, at least for a long time. But even if you don't, you can know that you've done something very important for the memory of your patient, and you've helped begin the healing process for a family grieving the loss of their loved one. Let's keep the dialogue going. Let me know what you think of this week's Pearl for Clinical Practice. Post your comments and experiences on the 5-Minute MD Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter at Brian Morris MD, and you can visit us anytime at 5minutemd.com. You can also email me at drmorris@5minutemd.com. That's Morris at 5minutemd.com. Let your friends know about the podcast and make sure that you are subscribed on iTunes. When you subscribe on iTunes, you will receive new pearls as soon as they are posted. Thank you so much for listening. This is Dr. Brian Morris, and I will see you at the next 5.